Hi everybody, I'm Jill and welcome to my YouTube channel, Beyond the Shadows, where we talk about everything that's true crime. So if you like true crime and this is what you like to delve into and what you like to hear about, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking my videos. It would help me a great deal. So we're going to get into today's case, and it is about Aaron Hernandez. It's taken me a while to go through and do all the research that I wanted to find out for myself what really was going on with Aaron Hernandez. And so now I want to film it and then talk to you guys about it. What I really wanted to delve into with the case of Aaron Hernandez was the CTE aspect of the case, and what actually is CTE and what does it do to make a lot of athletes kill themselves, kill other people. What happens to the brain when you have CTE? So CTE was kind of found out about in 1928, and they called it the punch drunk syndrome. So a lot of athletes, were committing suicide because they had this syndrome. And I don't think we knew a whole lot about it for a while, because when I was reading about it, it said that you cannot really diagnose someone as having CTE until they're dead and they have done an autopsy on the brain, and that is how you diagnose someone that has suffered from CTE. But CTE doesn't necessarily mean that you are knocked out. CTE is just from trauma to the brain. So a hit or a push or a fall hard enough to jog your brain and create what we know as CTE. So CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I hope I'm saying that right. And they have found it in more than 100 NFL players. It's a chronic degenerative brain disease. It's been found in athletes, in military, of anybody that has a history of repetitive head brain trauma. So it's got to be repetitive head and brain trauma that causes this to happen to your brain. Some of the symptoms of CTE, which can start from the early trauma, the head trauma, the brain trauma, and will get worse as time goes on in a person that has CTE. Impulse control problems, beating people, drug use, those are impulse control problems. Aggression, fights, arguing, yelling, mood swings. Can you imagine mood swings on top of impulse control and aggression? Depression, paranoia, anxiety. Okay, so those are just the sound. Now, can you imagine what a perfect storm it would be to have all those things going on in your brain at once, but not having any treatment for it, because you don't know for certain that you even have CTE until it's too late. It's also important to know that in CTE, proteins in the brain called neurons, they cause it misfolds and misfunctions. So they send this function to areas of the brain, and I know it's confusing. What it does is it actually kills off brain cells. So the brain is dying, basically, when you have this. CTE has been found in someone as young as 19 years old. But Aaron Hernandez was had the worst case of CTE, and he was 27 years old. So I'm going to get into some of Aaron's early life growing up, and I'm just going to kind of tell you about the trauma he already had before he, even stepped on the football field and started getting all these hits and these concussions. Aaron was born November 6, 1989, and he died April 19th, 2017. Currently on Hulu, it's called American Sports Story, and it's a new movie that is based on the life of Aaron Hernandez. Now, I've been watching this. So far, I think that the main area that this has zoned in on is Aaron Hernandez's sexual preference. And, you know, I feel like the person making the movie has a chance to also hit on the CTE. And he does. Like, he'll start showing Aaron having hallucinations. Aaron's head's hurting. The hits that Aaron has. That's what I was hoping that the movie would mainly be about. Instead, it's mainly been about his sexuality, and it's kind of disappointing so far. Growing up, Aaron grew up with a very, very abusive father. He was Puerto Rican, and his mom was Italian. So he was Italian and Puerto Rican. And he had a brother named DJ. Growing up, they said their father was very abusive. They were both alcoholics. They had been in and out of prison, both of them. That Aaron would get beat by his father regularly. And the marriage ended up breaking up eventually, but I feel like damage was done to both of the boys. But at 16 years old, Aaron's father went into a routine surgery for a hernia, and he never came out. Aaron's father passed away in that surgery. And it was a shock because they said it was a routine surgery. So after that is when things even got worse for Aaron. His mom and his cousin's husband were having an affair. So, and the cousin's husband was a real jerk too. So he would eventually find out that they were dating, and he moved in actually with his cousin. And his cousin was she seemed like a very good, positive person in Aaron's life. He was very, very close to her, and, they kept in contact. And I feel like she did look out for him. It would also come out that from the age of 6 and for several years after that Aaron was sexually abused by his uncle. I believe it's his uncle. I kind of got two different stories on this show I'm talking about. They say uncle. What I read, it said it was a friend of the babysitter's. Nonetheless, DJ did confirm that this did happen to Aaron, and he feels that Aaron thought that this maybe contributed to his preference in sexual partners. So Aaron went to Bristol High School, and there he was the star of the show. He was the senior Gatorade Football Player of the Year. He was 6'2", and that's when he started taking those hits to the head when he was in high school. And I think that's probably when all his trauma started, around 16, to his head. Aaron was making a name for himself. He was supposed to go to the University of Connecticut because that's where his brother was going, and that's where his father wanted him to go. However, after Aaron's father's death, Aaron did not go there. Aaron was recruited very young by the University of Florida. At 17, the coach from the University of Florida went to Aaron's high school, suggested that Aaron graduate early and come play for them. Now, no one had Aaron's best in mind because Aaron was only 17 years old. He was not very academic. He was not prepared for college. Yet they wanted him because he was a machine that they could put on the field and they could win. No one cared about Aaron, not his mother, nobody. And so that is what Aaron did. He went and he played for the Florida Gators. It was said that Aaron had to go and take remedial classes at a community college because he wasn't quite making it academically in Florida, okay? But they wanted him. Again, they didn't care that he wasn't ready. He wasn't mature. They just wanted to win football games, and they did do that with Aaron. However, Aaron did have problems with drugs. He had had problems his entire life with drugs, which usually mask anxiety, and things like that, he was benched on the season opener because he tested positive for drug use. Later, Aaron would come on and say that every single time he took the field in his college years, he was high. So Aaron caused a lot of problems in college. He was in a lot of fights. They had to do a lot of PR cover up for him. And by 2010, they had had enough. They said, look, Aaron, you're not going to be on the football team next year. You're either going to go professional or you're going to leave our football team. And Aaron decided to go professional and go into the NFL draft. So in 2010, he was drafted by the New England Patriots. He was a 4th round pick, and Aaron was shocked that he was a 4th round pick. However, he shouldn't have been too shocked because no one really wanted to take a chance on him after he was so much trouble in Florida with drugs and fighting and aggression. But they did take a chance on him and they did draft him. They drafted Aaron for $2.37 million, and he was only 21 years old, and he had a lot of baggage and a lot of emotional problems that I feel like the Patriots would take on because they would take in these players and they would fix them, but that's not what happened with Aaron. Aaron went on to play with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. He was a tight end for 3 seasons with the New York Patriots before Aaron would get indicted on the murder of a man named Odin Lloyd. Okay, so I'm going to tell you now about what we know happened with Odin Lloyd. When Aaron went to the Patriots, eventually he brought over the girl that he had been through elementary, junior high, and high school with. And they were living together and engaged, and she ended up getting pregnant and having a little girl. Now, Shanae, I think is how you say her name, she also had a sister, okay? The sister had a semi-professional football player boyfriend, and his name was Odin Lloyd. Now, this is how Aaron and Odin met, because the sisters, brought them all together as a family, and Odin and Aaron became good friends. They were hanging out together. Odin really looked up to Aaron. He was, in the NFL, just like Odin had always wanted to be. So they were hanging out. On the night of June 8th, 2013, Odin Lloyd was found in an industrial park about a mile away from Hernandez's home with multiple gunshot wounds to the back and to the chest. Now, people knew that Aaron and Odin hung out. That was just known. And when Odin was in the car with Aaron that night, he had texted, I believe, his sister and said he was with NFL. And NFL meant Aaron Hernandez. So they found him. They found a blunt near him, or a blunt near the body, and DNA had Aaron on it. They had rented a car. They found a shell casing in the car that was rented by Aaron Hernandez. But before this happened, people would start saying Aaron's hallucinating. Aaron is very paranoid. Aaron thought people were watching him. Aaron thought people were following him. He said that his brother, DJ, said that he said the FBI was following him and he slept with a large knife under his pillow. So he was getting paranoid, and I don't know if people thought it was from drugs, but no one bothered to think, wait a minute, maybe there's something wrong with him and his brain. Maybe we should get this looked at by a professional. But instead, they let Aaron continue. They let Aaron continue making money that they all benefited from. And no one stepped in. Aaron got arrested. Aaron, in 2015, was found guilty of first-degree murder for killing Odin Lloyd. He was sentenced to life in prison. While being sentenced to life in prison, there was another shooting that had come up that Aaron was involved in. However, Aaron would be acquitted of those charges because he has the famous Jose Baez as his attorney in this case. And if you don't remember who Jose Baez is, he's the attorney that got Casey Anthony off from killing her daughter Kaylee, which I believe she did. Anyway, he's really good at his job. So Jose Baez was also going to was in the middle of appealing his Odin conviction. Jose Baez said, that Aaron Hernandez had CTE, and this contributed to him killing Odin Lloyd. And they were in the middle, and they were going to try to get an appeal and retry this case for Aaron. So Aaron was in prison for killing Odin Lloyd, and they said he was in his cell for 20 hours a day. And he did obtain a type of synthetic marijuana that Aaron would smoke. And you would think that being alone in your cell for 20 hours a day, your mind would probably be crazy. And I feel like he already had severe brain trauma and severe brain damage. I think that it was just even worse for him. However, his mom did say that when she talked to Aaron on the phone, that Aaron said this was the calmest he had ever felt. He said he felt no stress, no pressure. He knew what his day was going to look like every single day, and he wasn't mad about it. So after he was acquitted of the double shooting, 5 days after that is when a corrections officer went in to check on Aaron Hernandez and found him dead. Aaron had taken bed sheets and tied them to the window in his cell and had hung himself. It is said that while Aaron was in prison for those 4 years, he became very religious. And this is how they found Aaron's cell, how it looked like. I'll just describe it to you. I don't think there's pictures out there. So shampoo was found covering the floor. Okay, the cell door, there was a cardboard wedged under the cell door, drawings in blood on the walls, unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye of God with the word Illuminati. So when they went into Aaron Hernandez's cell, initially they did not see a suicide note. What they did notice was that there was shampoo all over the floor. There was a cardboard wedged under his cell door. There were drawings on the walls in blood. And on the walls was an unfinished pyramid and the seeing eye of God with the word Illuminati on it. And they did end up finding a suicide note that Aaron had left. Aaron had left a note to his fiance and to his daughter. He left a note to Jose Baez thanking him for what he had done for him. To Cheyenne, he told her, "You're rich." And I'm not sure what, he said that he would see his family in heaven one day. Also, another interesting detail is that the note was inside of an opened Bible that was open to John 3:16. And Aaron had John 3:16 written on his forehead in red. So with all of this, it is said that 2 days before Aaron killed himself, there was somebody on sports radio that was making references about Aaron's sexual preference. Now, I don't know if you guys know the rumors or any of that Aaron was gay, bisexual. His fiance said she didn't know anything about it, but the mother and his brother said that yes, he had said he was gay and that he did blame some of it on what had happened to him when he was molested when he was 6 years old. And he would say that he hated himself for it. So because Aaron had not exhausted all of his appeals in the Odin Lloyd case, they had vacated that the guilty verdict for him. So in 2017, they vacated the murder conviction. So under the law, if you haven't exhausted all your appeals, then you are not guilty. So Aaron, when he died, he was seen as an innocent person, an innocent man. However, in 2018, they reinstated his guilty verdict. It's also interesting that Aaron gave power of attorney to his agent, where he had instructed him to look for affordable housing for his daughter and Cheyenne. Also, he left $500,000 to them, and then he left $120,000 to a close friend. So the University of Florida ended up removing anything in Aaron Hernandez's name, including his All-American statue. The Bristol High School where he went removed all of his awards there as well and gave them to his family. Patriots removed all of his memorabilia. They would exchange jerseys, so people didn't have the Hernandez jersey anymore. He was dropped from Madden, and he was also removed any pictures from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How do I feel about this? I feel like anything before Aaron's crime and conviction should remain there. That's part of the history for his daughter, or for his family. I don't understand why they had to go all the way back to high school. He didn't commit the murder in high school. He didn't commit the murder in college, and he did things that were important to his career and are important to his family. I don't know why that they had to remove everything from everywhere of Aaron Hernandez. But yet, people are making money off of him and writing documentaries over and over and using all of this, like they've always used Aaron Hernandez and his name, to make money, but yet they're going to claim that he never did any of those things. So this story could go on and on and on. There's so many twists and turns in Aaron's life, and and watching this Hulu movie, I was just really saddened by the fact that they were just focusing on his sexual preference and not focusing on what they should have been focusing on, is CTE that he had. They donated his brain to be studied for CTE, and he had the worst case they had ever seen in a 27-year-old. I think that sports really need to take care of people better. I watch football every Sunday, and I see, and I saw recently the quarterback for Dolphins. He's been concussioned so many times. In my mind, I'm thinking it is a matter of time before he kills himself, goes crazy, and massacres his family. I don't know, because you can imagine how his brain will look after he dies from all this trauma he has suffered. And I just feel like, I think that if things could have been different for Aaron, if possibly someone would have looked past the football star, past that horse that you have out there on the field winning and winning, to what something was going on. There was something mentally wrong with Aaron. And I think it was overlooked because everybody wanted him on the field, and they wanted the money, and they wanted the fame. And in the end, nobody won. So anyway, I think it's sad. I think it's sad for Odin Lloyd's family. I think it's sad for Aaron Hernandez's family, for his daughter that will grow up without a father. But I think that it is important to know the signs, especially if your loved one or someone you care about is in the military or in sports or a boxer, to look for those signs in your loved one. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this subject. If you could give me a like and a follow, that would be great. Let me know your take on Aaron Hernandez and what you think about this video. And if you're watching the Hulu show, let me know what you think about that too. But I'll see you on the next one. You guys have a great day. Bye.